Joining us now, criminal defense attorney and MSNBC legal analyst Danny Cevallos, and former assistant attorney general for New York, Tristan Snell. He led New York's prosecution of Donald Trump for defrauding Trump University students and wrote a book about that case. It's called Taking Down Trump, 12 Rules for Prosecuting Donald Trump by Somebody Who Did It Successfully. Gentlemen, welcome. Danny, I'm going to ask you first. Why would Chris Kise want Donald Trump to speak today?
Because I bet Chris Kise had no interest in having Donald Trump speak today. I think the client wanted to speak today. And I think sometimes, especially now, after this many years, if you're signing on to be former President Trump's attorney, part of the deal is you know the client is going to make some demands, and the client has the right to ask. But I am astonished that it even got this far. I'm astonished that Donald Trump was able to say one word. I've been saying this all morning. This is a motion that, had it been made with a party that no one's ever heard of, that motion would have been denied. Outright, out of hand. There would have been no emails back and forth. There would have been no consideration, and he never would have spoken. That's because judges say if you have a lawyer, the lawyer does the talking. You know why? Because most of the time clients don't understand what's relevant and what's not. Attorneys will tell you that throughout trial, their client will lean over, poke at them, hand them notes, and I promise you, 9 times out of 10, the note has nothing to do with anything. And that should not ever come to light. There's a reason why we have these rules, why clients have to rely on their attorneys to speak, and this is Exhibit A as to why we have those rules.
Help me understand what Judge Engoron was trying to do here by letting him speak. And if he was trying to give him whatever room that he needed, because this is a man who's running for president and he's going to say whatever he's going to say outside of the courthouse or on his social media, et cetera, why not just give him 5 minutes to give his campaign speech and to say whatever he wants to say and then say, OK, thank you, and move on?
He can make the campaign speech on the courthouse steps. We have rules in court, and we're so committed. How often do I hear other folks say, hey, we have to treat Trump exactly the same as everyone else? Well, I'll tell you about everyone else, because I represent everyone else, and so do all the other lawyers out there. And everyone else would never, ever, I can't stress this enough, be allowed to, hey, can my client just get up and give a speech? That's every time that happens in court. I'll be completely candid with you. Most of the time when that happens in court and there aren't cameras, the judge flat out yells at a client who speaks up. It happens within a second. Hey, Judge, I want to say something.
Be completely candid with me, by the way.
I am always completely candid with you, Katie. The point is, this is something that never happened. So if you ask me, hey, was it a good idea? Part of me wants to say, I don't know. I've never had it. I've never had a situation where a represented, maybe a pro se. Now, obviously, if you're pro se and you want to, if Trump wanted to fire all his lawyers on the last day and give whatever speech he wanted, by the way, I don't even know if that would be allowed in most situations, because courts don't let defendants game the system by firing their lawyers, proceeding pro se when they want to, and then hiring lawyers again. So if he wants to go pro se, great, but that would be a whole nother disaster.
Let's get back to the arguments they're making, not just the political speeches. And Donald Trump's attorneys keep on arguing that no fraud was committed. There's no fraud here. Nobody mentioned fraud at the trial, that nobody was harmed, that these banks got all of their money. They were happy to do business with Donald Trump. No harm, no foul. If there's no harm, you can't prosecute him. Where does this fine come from? Explain what the prosecution says, and also explain what Judge Engoron already ruled.
First off, we always have to remember Donald Trump already lost this case. We're here to talk about math and about some other issues around the edges here. It's primarily to figure out what amount he's going to have to pay to the state of New York. It can get appealed, but he already lost in summary judgment. What's going on here? He keeps on saying, oh, there's no fraud, there's no harm, there's no victim. That's not what the statute at issue here says. It's New York Executive Law 6312. It's a statutory fraud provision. It does not require a victim. It does not require intent. It does not require that the victim reasonably relied on the misrepresentations. Those are things that are required by common law fraud and often by criminal fraud, but they're not required by this particular statute, which has been on the books for decades and has a ton of New York case law around it. And there's a different statute that it's related to, the Martin Act, which has been around for almost 100 years. So this is not new law. And the notion that you have to have a victim here, no, Donald Trump's making things up as he goes along. You don't have to have a victim here. At the end of the day, the victim is the people. The plaintiff in any case like this is the people of the state of New York. And it's about protecting the marketplace and saying you can't just lie and make things up in business in this state.
The Trump University case ended up with the end of Trump University, as you well know. Could this case end up with the end of the Trump Organization here in New York State?
As we know it, yes, absolutely.
What does that mean?
So Executive Law 6312 also contains a provision that we've been talking about that allows for the cancellation of corporate charters when there's been persistent and repeated fraud and illegality. That looks like it's the case here. It's certainly something the AG is pursuing, and it's something that Judge Engoron already ruled on and said, yes, we're going to cancel all those corporate charters for the businesses that were involved here, and that those companies are going to get placed into receivership, i.e. it's exactly what happens in a bankruptcy. It gets handed over to somebody else. There's a court-appointed receiver. That person then probably liquidates the businesses. That's going to get appealed. We'll see what happens on appeal, but it could be the beginning of the end of Trump's businesses in New York.